Hi, I'm Meg Ruffman. Today, I'm going to spend the whole episode showing you how to repel marauders by installing security bars over basement windows, a job requiring fortitude and patience. After that, we'll go into the workshop where I'll show you how to avoid ruining a perfectly good screw. So let's get to it, bearing in mind the Repair to Remember motto, how hard can it be? If you live in a home where maybe there are marauders in the neighborhood and you want to make sure that no marauders ever get into your cozy nest through perhaps basement windows, you can get these great bars that you can put on the windows. They look like this, and they're quite heavy. Now, you can actually mount them on the inside of the house, or you can mount them on the outside of the house. If you mount them on the inside, buy the kind that are breakaway, so that if there's a fire and you're having like a basement party with records and stuff, you can get out, okay? You can actually, well, I'll show you that later. But look on the label, because it either says permanent, which is for mounting outside, or breakaway, which is the indoor kind. So today, obviously, we're doing the indoor kind. And this is what they look like. It's a really good idea to set them out as I have here before you try to put them in the window, because it gives you an idea of how they're configured. And I'll tell you, they give you lots of instructions and stuff, but they're just not as helpful as you would wish they would be. And now, they are written in English and 2 other languages, so if you're fluent in several languages, perhaps by the time you've read them in several languages, it's more obvious, okay? But to me, okay, just on a rudimentary level, they're not helpful. Part of the reason is that we have a very wide window here, okay? So we're talking, we need 2 of the bar pieces, even though they expand. See, look. This will expand from, I forget what, it goes as wide as 54 inches or something, but we needed a whole 6 feet on this window. So I guess you could see, you can adjust these little screws that go through here. You can put them in, say, that hole, like open it all up and then put the screws in, and that gives you a much wider bar. But we needed 2, and that means that you have to have the joining post, that's this thing, and it comes to you virgin, naked, no holes drilled in it whatsoever. So not only are we going to mount bars, we're going to drill holes in the bars in this thing. And drilling into metal is a whole art in itself, so lots to do here today. And it'll be fun. Okay, so very first thing to do is measure, well, you've probably already done this if you've gone and bought the bars. You need to measure the opening to find the center part, because this little joining post goes in the center. Okay, so 70 inches. So 35 is my center point, and I'm going to mark it in a couple of places here so that I can find it easily. And I have to do the same thing on the tops. So they give you these brackets, and like it's so custom, okay? Because no matter what, you might have different dimensions, but they do give you these brackets, and this is how they work. See, they give you a bit of play. You see that? All right, so I'm going to mark for easy now. The purpose of having a belt is to actually, so things are at hand, and of course I never put them back. Okay, there's my center mark. And, okay, that's good enough. Okay, so now, this is another little tricky bit. When you're drilling into concrete, and like most basements, at some point in your mounting experience, you will have to drill into concrete. Now to do that, I'm going to choose the rotohammer. Okay, this is a special drill, and it does 2 things. It rotos, and it hammers at the same time. So it has a vibration that just kind of chips away the concrete as the drill bit is spinning. And also, the drill bit is a masonry bit. You wouldn't want to use the kind that you would use for screwing into, oop, that's a masonry bit too. This is a drill bit for screwing into wood. It looks quite different. The masonry bit is more spiral, and it has this carbide tip that really, it's very heat resistant, so it'll really drill into the concrete well because it builds up a lot of heat. The reason I'm using a big bit is because, look, for mounting into concrete, you have to use an anchor. You can't just put the screw in the wall. It'll just, like, look at this little wee screw. Like, if you put that into the wall, it'll just pull right back out again. So you have to use a lead anchor. They usually come in packages. You buy them together. This does not come with the hardware. Okay, when you buy the bars, you have to actually go to the screw aisle, okay, and get these things too. So lead anchor. So it's pretty big, which is why I'm using that big drill bit. You see, if you match them. Okay, and then you just take a hammer and tap the lead anchor in because it wants to bite into the concrete. Like that. See, it's really soft. It works great. Okay, I have one more hole to drill here and one more anchor to put in place. Now I'm going to actually take that bracket and put it in place with the screws that they provided in the anchor and screw package, because we know they'll fit the anchors. So don't be getting the hardware mixed up at this point. Goes like that, just checking that I got the anchors. Sometimes when you're drilling with the rotohammer, because it's also bouncing, it tends to jump around a bit, so it's always a good idea to just check that you did get the anchors in the right position before you go ahead and drill one in. And these have the square head, also known as a Robertson bit. Okay. All right. So now we have to deal with the sidebar. Now you see, like you'd think, if you were just thinking, okay, I'm just going to put this whole thing in now, and now I'll put the top one in, and I'll just keep going. But the trouble with that is that, see, this one's going to go up here. And it's got just enough play, just barely enough, really. But because we have to drill into this, it's very hard to drill into this thing in place because you're drilling into metal, and the drill's going to want to walk all over the place. So I'm just going to put this in place temporarily for now, right? And then I'll come back to it because when I need to drill to connect the two grill pieces to this piece, I have to drill this piece on a flat surface. That's what you do when you drill metal. Okay, so let's just show you here. This, the way these are configured is this is the center part with this little flappy thing on it. And then the side part, it also has a flappy thing, but it's mounted with this little plastic pin. And that little pin is there so you can actually pull it out, take the sidebar off, and mount the darn thing without the whole weight of the bars pulling down and just fighting you. So we'll take this out, and there, it just pops out, see? And we'll just put that somewhere safe, and then this just lifts out like this. Right, and let's make some room for myself here. All right, so this is going to go, now, there are two ways to do it. You could put it inside the window like this, or you could mount it flat on the flat surface, actually. See, I already forget how it was. That's right. Like this. Okay, now you have a decision to make here. It's a cosmetic and an emotional decision, because if you put the thing on the inside, see, like, look. See what's happening here? That's going to be absolute heck to mount right there. That's going to be really hard because this, you know, it's not even a flat surface. Out here, we have a chance of having an easier installation. So I'm going with this mount right here. Also, I don't know what your basement looks like, but it's hard to know what's going on under here. If it's wood frame or if it's all cinder block. Wait a second. It's hard to know. No, it's cinder block. So I'm going to have to be actually using the drill again, I think. The big rotohammer. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pencil lines on and mark this. So because I'm working at a weird angle, I'm just going to put the level on the metal. Put the level on the middle. And get that little bubble in the middle. And now I can mark with confidence. 1, 2, there. So I have 4 new places to drill with my Rambo hammer, roto hammer. Okay, so now I can attach the bar, and that's really simple, as long as the anchors all line up properly, which in this case they did beautifully. Okay, so now that we have this sidebar in place and this sidebar in place, which I did earlier, we're ready to put the big bars in place and measure to drill the holes into the center post. Okay, so I'm going to have to undo these pins and stretch this out a bit, but first I'm going to put the other bar in place over here, and then we'll take a measurement off these 2 bar pieces so that we can drill into the center post. There we go, so that'll hold them in place. Okay, it looks pretty bad so far. So I'll release these screws and pull the these guys in, and we'll take the marks from there. Here, look, this is going to be somewhere over here. So you want the bars themselves to be centered a little bit. So you kind of work with these 2 expanding arm pieces until you find, you know, you've got an equal amount of this bar section on each side. So that's roughly right. All right, so I'm going to reinsert the screws on in these 2 places. And just tighten them down. All right, so now the next step is to mark. I'm going to turn these swivelly bits, and I'm going to mark the center post and drill it so that we can attach these guys. And we're almost getting to the point where I can say we're going to make it. The only thing is, the center post has that top bracket, remember, and it goes like this. But see, as it is right now, it's not really got enough room. So I'm going to go to the bottom of the post and just clamp it up to give me a little bit of extra play up at the top. So then I can bring it up like that. For now, though, don't attach it yet. All right. If I could have my assistant, Matt, to hold this. If you could just hold that up so that you... That's perfect. All right, so what I want to do is I have to level this to make sure that it's going, oh, pretty darn good. Sorry, did that hurt? Okay, I think that really hurt, though. This is why I can't keep assistants, you know. They quit. I drop levels on them. All right, sorry. I'm really sorry. All right, now I have the center post clamped to the table. This is very important. You either need somebody holding it really tightly while you drill, or you need to clamp it because it will walk around. When you're drilling into metal, there are 3 steps that you need to take. First thing you need to do is get a center punch. That's what this thing is. And what it does is this little sharp pointy end sets a little dimple into the metal so that when you put the drill bit into the dimple, the drill bit doesn't skate around all over the surface of the metal, which is very slippery to metal on metal kind of thing, you know. So you set the little punch right in the center of your circle, and whack it once. Okay, I totally missed. Somehow it slid away from me there while I wasn't looking. See, this is tricky, metal on metal. There. So the next step is, this is the screw that we're going to be using to attach the two pieces of metal together. And you can see by the shaft on the screw that it's about this thickness. That's how we would choose. But instead of starting with this drill bit, we're going to start with a finer drill bit, which is this one. You see, I'll put them together so you can tell. And that's because you want to first create a smaller hole and then carve it out a little bit wider. It's just easier that way because you're screwing into a very dense material. Okay, so I broke through, which is great. So now I'm going to switch bits and make the hole just a little bit bigger. And I just reamed it out a bit because you want a really clean hole, because the threads on these little screws will break down pretty quickly if they're trying to carve into the metal. All right, so I have a few more holes to drill here, and then we'll put the center post in place. Okay, so I'm going to put it back in place. Oops, that thing went to the back, like this. And then I'm going to get the ladder and be ready to drill the other bracket into place. And it's going into wood, so it's not going to be nearly as much of a fight as the first one was. Bracket. And I'm going to level it again. Just need to level it so that it's, plumb it. Right there is good. Okay, so I'll just get that mounted, and then we're ready to hook the whole thing up and put it together. Whew. Okay, one more to go. And then there's the simple matter of a keyless quick release, so that if there were a fire down here, we would be able to get out quickly. Okay, so the bars are finally installed. There is a special emergency egress thing over here that we've installed, and the way it works is that this is at the moment holding the bars steady, but down here, if you'll follow my hand, we have a small pin that even a short person could pull. And what that does is it drops this bar and it pops the pin, and then you just, the very short person is out of luck, of course, because they're down there and they can't get this open anyway, but that's a whole other security issue, really. Okay, so that's how these work, the breakaway bars. And I'll just reload this, and there you go. So you can see it's not an easy job. It's just a pernicious, evil, horrible job. But once it's done, think of it. You've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more windows to go. Great. Okay, so hope you didn't book much for your weekend. It would not be my choice to mount my own security bars, but it may be yours. And if that's what you want to do, go right ahead. However, the irritation index is so high on this one. I think, it'd be better to just get a dog. Even an incontinent dog that could bark would be easier than mounting your own security bars. I have personally ruined many a screw by using a sloppy tool. And I wanted to show you today how to keep your screwdrivers buff, okay? Now look, this one's been used for some kind of a paint thing, and this one's twisted and chipped, and this one's dull as can be. And they've all got problems. So what you do is get a single cut file, which looks like this. It just has one row of cutting lines. It doesn't look like this, which is all crisscrossed. Don't use this one. Use the single one, okay? And you put the screwdriver in a vise if you have one, or if you're really good and have excellent thigh strength, you can try holding it between your knees. And then you file the sides first, the flat surfaces, like this, and then draw the blade across the tip. You should wear the protective eye gear though. Draw the cutting surface across the tip, and you end up with, now, obviously I've been working on this one for a few minutes, but look at it, it's gorgeous. Huh? So if you keep your tools in good order, you'll end up with a happier time with your screwing. We've come to that part of the show where I like to talk to the people who still haven't attempted their first home repair. If you're the type of person who would say, I wouldn't even know if it was broken, I'm talking to you here. You are holding out on me. Therefore, I have set this time aside to send powerful vibrations of strength, enthusiasm, and tool aptitude to you right now. Are you feeling that? Yes, you are, aren't you, baby? Huh? Huh? Now, here's the deal. You go to the basement or the hardware store or the tool drawer as soon as you can and get yourself some basic tools, and you be ready. You get in touch with your own hardware, because before you know it, you are going to have the powerful urge to fix something. It might be later today. It will certainly be no later than tomorrow. Something will catch your eye, and you are going to say out loud in a strong and steady voice, this needs fixin', and I'm the one to do it. Say it with me. This needs fixin', and I'm the one to do it. I can't hear you. Yes, indeed, you will be carried by the power of the Fix-It Babe Collective, which exists on many levels of reality, and it will assist you in your moment of need. Remember this, and you will feel darn good the rest of the week. Resistance is not only futile, it's not much fun either. Until next time on A Repair to Remember, I'm Mag Ruffman. It's, you know, like renting one of these for a day, even if you don't want to put bars up, this is just really good. Like $40 for a really fine afternoon. Good. Sorry, did that hurt?